Hello, hello. Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services, and another unannounced stream. Although I did mention that I may come on tonight from the stream we had on Saturday, I believe. Just wrapping up the month, Black History Month here in the United States, which we say is not really a month. It's really 365 7. That it? Yeah, 365 7 days a week. But the special attention which I have placed on it for this month, and again, trying to come up with different content for this channel, especially having the live content that I'm having now. So if you're viewing this but you're not live yet, I'll give a chance for you to come in uh, to converse with people from around the world who have watched my channel. As you can see, I got all the lights on. Um, Changing the atmosphere from what I normally have, which sort of darkened with other lights on. So you kind of see some of what my basement studio looks like with the lighting in the back and some trophies I have on the back wall and some other stuff I'm trying to cover. I didn't cover it up this time. Just trying to be as normal as possible. So, Black History Month, for me, it gave me a chance to relive a lot of those songs that were in my past. As I have said, I retired full time as being a church musician in 2018, I believe it was. So my last note was played, but that didn't stop me from still playing here on YouTube, sharing songs, sharing techniques, being an assistant to musicians anywhere and everywhere. What I appreciated on that last stream, there was a gentleman from Japan, I believe. At least I could not pronounce his name in his language, who had requested that I had more lights on so that when I would play something, he wanted to see my finger work. So I have left the lights on so that he could see that. I will be doing some playing. Again, I am looking to see what can I share with those who share with me, not just music or technique, but if you want to see how my hands, in a sense, glide across the keyboard, I have no problem showing that. I've made it a point, from when I first started playing as a church musician and wanting to learn the techniques of other musicians. How do you do that when they would hide their hands? And that would kind of make me a little bit discouraged. I must have been about 13 or 14 when they would stop showing me what they were doing or would turn to the side so I couldn't see what their hands were playing. And I said, if I ever got to the point where I could play sufficiently enough to help instruct or teach someone, I would not hide any chords, any techniques, anything that I have learned on my own or from somebody else. Now you say, well, learn from somebody else. Anytime someone plays, I'm learning from them. As you heard from some of the music that I've been playing on my site, I try to mimic the person's song that I'm learning. I want to hear how they do the opening, the intro, what chords are they using throughout the song, so that I could teach myself through someone else's composition. We call it, well, we did call it play by ear. I call it play by hear. Let me move my name around. I'm like, okay, looks better there. Okay. I call it play by hear. You hear it, you go to the piano, you try to mimic what that note was you just heard, and then you play it. Now, I see, I don't have anybody has come in yet. I may touch on some songs. I did get, as I said in my previous live, there were some songs I played which might incur a copyright strike. Copyright strike is not a bad thing. It just lets me know that I have infringed upon someone's song, and they because I actually monetize this page to help pay for the equipment I get here. I have to share any proceeds from that last live being viewed. No problem. I've got several of those because there are some songs which, as I say, I don't try to hide the chords. I want you to see the exact chords that were in that song as I learned them, and then you can, of course, on your own time, practice those chords too. See, I don't think we have anyone who has come in yet, so I'll just keep conversing. We covered some songs from the 70s and some from the 80s. We didn't cover songs from the 90s. Let me just pull up a. I'm going to pull up a YouTube channel. Not a YouTube channel, but a Google search. Gospel songs from the 90s. And let's see what we can pull up. I want to pull up just text. Okay. Well, of course, it's giving me every gospel song everywhere. Let's see. I want to do the ones that are familiar, that were what you would have heard in your church. Let's see. This is not a lot of ads on this page. Okay, maybe back in this next page, it'll give me some. Okay, here we go. Okay, Yolanda Adams was big. Donnie McClurkin, of course. Kirk Franklin came out in the 90s. Now, not that Donnie McClurkin wasn't in the 80s, but he became an impact singer as he began to go solo and not sing with other groups. Let's see. Yolanda Adams. Let's see whose copyright I can infringe. Open My Heart. I didn't really do that one. I did do the Yolanda Adams song. I'm hearing it in my head. I want to get the lyrics correctly. I don't see it. I hear the song in my head, and I got to try to do the lyrics. The battle's not yours, it's the Lord's. In the key of D major. Now, that was a song that helped get me more comfortable playing in D major, because again, I wanted to play it like it was on the album. So we're going to cover that. Let me go to my Chordy app, change the key to D major, and I'll touch on some of the chords. I'm going to slow it down so I don't just go running off with the song while we're waiting for others to come in. So the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's, in the key of D major. Now, as I said, in learning this song, I had to put on more than just my hearing. I had to hear what the actual we live here. Okay. Want to make sure the microphone was live. I had to hear every nuance of that song. Still messed that up. That opening. Took me years, I won't say years, months, to get this fingering down because I wanted that change. it is. There it is. Haven't played. Who's joined us? I have not played this song in so long. My fingering is falling. The muscle memory is not there for playing in D. But I'm getting there. Mr. Notes. No matter what you're going through, there it is. It's the Lord. Hold your head up high. Don't you cry. It's the Lord's. Going through. Wow. Wow. Get to the chord. There it is. D flat. It's a long time. And it ends up in E major. Yeah, that was a trip down memory lane. Welcome, Benjamin. Yes, D major is the original key for The Battle Is Not Yours. That was, again, one of my teaching moments or learning moments when I had to learn that song. Because who writes in D major except hymns? So to put a gospel song in the key of D major, and a lot of people that did play it would automatically put it down into C sharp, D flat, because no one likes to play in D major. But I've always found if you take the time to learn the parts of the song, the chords in the song, you will find those same chords that you use in other keys. It's just a matter of where they are placed in that song. And of course, Yolanda Adams had a lot of different hits. I want to see what was the other one. Because she being a solo singer, if you didn't have a person in your church choir who could sing her melodies, then you really never got a chance to really delve into the song properly. I'm trying to think, what was the other one from her that I did? Through the Storm. Did I do Through the Storm? Did I play Through the Storm? I'm trying to remember. See, I have to hear the melody in my head to know whether or not I actually learned the song. And Through the Storm is not doing anything. Open Up My Heart. That's 1999. She had some, of course. She was a sultry. She was the Whitney Houston voice of the changeover in gospel music to a more R&B style of music, where you had that sultry soloist singing the song. Of course, I mentioned Donnie McClurkin. Donnie McClurkin, his music transitioned between hymns, gospel, Caribbean, um, and I'll say show tunes, because his music really, um, it was a lesson in itself. When you learn to play any of the Donnie McClurkin songs, you didn't know what mode you were going to be in based upon what album that came out. Let me just pull up him as music of, just typing it up. Donnie McClurkin. Because I didn't learn all of his songs, but I learned the ones that was necessary for what was asked of me. So of course, Great Is Your Mercy, Stand, everyone learned that. Speak to My Heart, That's What You Believe, his Caribbean melody. We Fall Down, his Holy, Holy, Holy song is a masterpiece. He did a selection with Yolanda Adams called The Prayer. I learned that. I'm trying to think if I still remember that. I'm just playing the chords through my head. Beautiful song. Let me change my Cordy app. Again, I expect to get copyright strikes. They're not bad. They're just letting me know that I played a song that has a copyright attached to it from the owners of the music. Now, I haven't played The Prayer in probably 10 years, but in my head, I'm hearing it. So let's see how well I can do with The Prayer. See anybody else join us? Oh, welcome. Jamia Robinson from Tampa, Florida, welcome. So what we're talking about, as I'm closing out Black History Month in music, in the black music in the church, I'm touching on some of those songs that came in the 80s and the 90s, and those artists that emerged from choirs. You know, the gospel age began with a lot of choir singing with the soloist, and then we had this changeover in the 80s where we started getting basically like the R&B sound in gospel, where you just had a singer and they were doing solo projects. So I'm going to the prayer that Donnie McClurkin did as a duet with Yolanda Adams. I believe it was in the key of F. I played this once for a wedding. Just turn this microphone around. There was a wedding being done, and I was asked to play this song for a wedding, so I had to learn it. Let me just change my Cordy app. Oh, it's already in F. Okay, once it did that already. Trying to remember. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I lost the changes. I haven't played this in so long. I think that was it. Now, if I were to go back, if I do that, I may do that. Just quickly, I'm going to go to the song and get that change correctly. Let's see if I can find it. This may infringe. This may infringe a bit on the copyright. So if I play it a little low, that's the reason. Let's see if I can find that chord. There it is. There, it's a change. All right, let's find that change. So it does go to B flat. Okay. I need one chord. So again, without infringing on a copyright, hopefully they didn't hear that, but I think I've got those changes. One of those songs that if you don't play it all the time, you don't hear those changes because they're not the normal quote unquote gospel sound. But this is the give you this idea how gospel just morphed. Who else joined us? Oh, wait, no. This is how gospel morphs, and I was glad to be a part of that. Coming into from the tail end of spirituals and hymns into the early gospel changeover with the jazz sounds with the Hawkins and the Andre Crouch, and then to see it morph into the contemporary with the Kirk Franklins and the um, Reverend Timothy Wrights, and who else was in that family? Keith Pringle was in that family, of course. The big band sound of Chicago Mass Choir, Mississippi Mass Choir. Who else is the whoever Mass Choir? Milton Brunson. All these big bands, and then now to see it morph into these, into the into the Yolanda Adams and the Kirk Franklin's and his style of music, where he brought in that hip hop sound. Goodness, how can I leave out John P. Key, who revolutionized the new sound coming from the South? We're going to touch on some of John P. Key's music also. As I say, it's a rich history. I don't think there's too many other genres where where each era of music really controlled what you heard. I mentioned John P. Key because he was in that era of Hezekiah Walker, Kirk Franklin, and Timothy Wright, where they would be almost be the battle of who had the best band and who had the newest songs. I'll say monthly. They were each being at each other's programs, and you couldn't wait to hear each artist come up. Um, while I was in the mode of Donnie McClurkin, I didn't touch on his iconic song, which is "Stand," but he's had some others too. I think we sometimes as musicians get bombarded with songs from our choir leaders who say we want our choir to sing this song, and they may touch on one song from an album that has 10 songs on it. And if we never get a chance to go back and listen to the other nine we missed, we miss out on a whole lot more music. So let me touch on a couple more. We see did Yolanda Adams. I did that sloppily through the prayer. But Don McClurkin, some of his signature songs was "Your Grace and Mercy." Not "Your Grace and Mercy." Got it right here. "We Fall Down," "Speak to My Heart," "Grace." Oh, great is your mercy. So let me just touch on some of those Donnie McClurkin songs. Again, we just infringed on some more copyright strikes. Again, not a bad thing. They're just saying that I can't. They have to alert me what I'm doing. And again, this is my way of rounding out this Black History Month in gospel music and the morphing of so many different songs into so many different sounds. Let me just answer a question. Welcome, G Man. Do you think that you might do "God Is" one of your posts at some point? I've almost got it, but I'm missing something on the melody. Oh, okay, not a problem. "God is James Cleveland, and I will say "God Is" came out during my time as a church musician. I wasn't a youngster when it came out, and I just one of those songs that which I did learn. I hear some of the chords when I hear other people play it. They omit his jazz chording of that song. A lot of them go with the major, and he's using an actual six chord in that song. What part of the song are you missing? What part of the melody? Not the choir part, but the actual lead part. God is, God is. I think I did that as a. No, I didn't do that as a lesson, but I have done it as one of the feature songs. Just getting back to the page so I can see. What part of the song that were you? Are you almost uh, got learned? Let's change my scene. Back in A flat. Okay, the lead. The lead is low. It's almost like singing stand. Hmm. B A B A B A flat. It's basic chords. Resolve, my all, B flat seventh. Walk up. Now you can go many ways with this chord and drop down all here. I think the original is where they give you that F on the bottom with an A flat chord. Some go here. It doesn't matter. They both fit. Yeah. Now think B A B A. God, it's the and a lot of musicians stay away from that, which I don't know why. It's just when you get here, B A B A flat. So did I cover that chord? In this song, you're letting the lead, so you really don't want to be force feeding them melody. I play the melody just to show you what chord changes can be implemented. You know, some will do this and just drop straight down and then back up. Now you can go here to the B flat seventh, change it, resolve, walk up. That's in the album. Same. That's on the album. C and back to the F. B flat. Resolve. And then you chain. Boom, 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 boom. When you try to make it harder than what it sounds like, as you see, I like to take a song apart. I want to hear what the melody is doing, what chords support the melody, and then what chords can I omit first of all to get it basic, and then what chords can I begin to add to give it that flavor. You can always go big chords. But all those big chords take away from what the lead is doing. And they really don't have a lot of words. God is my joy in the time of trouble. God is. I should know these words. I memorized this song. It's one of my favorite songs to hear sung correctly. But as you can see, I can add all the big fat chords I want around it, but that would take away from what the soloist is doing. But if you're just hanging in there with them, let them go down. Just right there. I've changed the chords. There it is. And as I say, once you know where you're going, which is why I've always stressed that you learn your triad chords in every key. And the inversions, because you never know when you're going to need. You never know when you're going to need that. E. Okay, that's what's going to resolve to. What am I missing? There it is. There it is. Again, these are chords that are found in so many other songs, but when you finally hear someone play it in a gospel song, you go, wait a minute, that's all they're doing. They're holding a bass. It sounds mysterious till it resolves. In you more pain, misery, and strife. He promised to never to leave. Same chords that you were just playing, just walking down. Keep my life clean every day. I want to go with him when he comes back. F comes too far, and I've come too far. I'll never turn back. God is. I always do that because I like doing. God is. This is the chord that everybody misses. That's a very basic chord. God is. God is my. This chord, all, and that is the final chord in this song. Nobody plays this chord. They go here, but this is the chord. When it does a turnaround, God is my all and Bum 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 bum. Boom. God is my all and all. When you get me to playing those songs, which had significance, significant uh, milestones in my life, who joined us? Welcome, Timothy. First time from Raleigh. Jimmy, when you start playing those songs, that when I start playing those songs from my past, then I don't want to stop playing them because I hear all the changes that, and usually these songs would run 5 or 6 minutes in a service. So once you got past the song, you never got all those chord changes that you practiced in there. So you got to hear me bounce around some of the changes which I've never used in that song. Just to hearing, gee, what does it sound like if I did this, if I did that, in a practice sense. Well, G Man, easy in the sense of everything you see me play is what I practice, not just when I'm playing the song, but when I'm doing other things, so that when I think about how I want it to sound while I'm playing it, I've already practiced it, so it's just a matter of timing or positioning where that chord is going to fit in that part of the song. Especially this song, it's a basic song that doesn't have all those crazy stuff you hear in a lot of the songs today. Very basic opening. Even that walk down from G to A to G to A to A flat, because I practiced playing every chord that I could on the register just to hear what it sounds like. When I heard that being played, I go, oh, that's all they're doing: G, A, and A flat. But you're holding a E flat bass. That gives it that that mysterious sound. Unless you think, no, let it know that's something coming up. There is a backward way for those of a different set of chords also. Um, who uses that in one of those praise songs um, from the West Angeles Church? Hallelujah, He's worthy to be praised. They go the backward way, the backward way. But no one does those songs anymore, though. Oh, I'm glad you were able to write it down. Of course, you can always play back the video. I did pause on some of those chords and then added different flavorings of that same chord so that you could choose to go high or low based upon who you have leading it. I think in the original song it was a male and a female. So it was low when James Cleveland sung it. I'm sorry, I don't know who the female lead was, but that gives you a chance to branch out on the chords when a female singer is doing this one. You can now use those same lower end chords and fill the middle up to the actual higher end, which is what I showed in some of that playing. Again, this is the fun part that I love about gospel music. You are not tongue tied to a script like sheet music that says, "Oh, you can only play these notes at this point." No, it's like jazz. What are you feeling as a musician at that time, working in conjunction with the singer or the choir? I'm going to practice those changes for another week before I go with the choir. Yeah, do that. Shock them, you know, give them a shock, because a lot of them have probably never heard this song from its original. And, you don't want to start sending them off to YouTube to go listen to it. But work with who you have. Just that build your songs, you build your chords around the voices that you have. And it's not a very high song if you're still doing it in A flat. I'm not sure who your director is or if you're teaching the song. A flat is the original key. I believe it's, yeah, A flat's the original key because it starts off low with a tenor. Where was I? Oh, I was talking songs by Donnie McClurkin. I may not touch on all of them, but let's touch on, let's see. Oh, We Fall Down, which is also an A flat, and Stand, which is an A flat, and Great Is Your Mercy, I believe, was done in F. So let's touch on We Fall Down and Stand. This is, again, these are the songs from the 90s in gospel music that Do you really hear them played anymore? They had their run, you might say, and then got pushed aside as music began to evolve rapidly. Usually, a song might last 2 or 3 years. As you see, you have the song "Total Praise," which I think had reached its 30th anniversary, and people are still singing it like it just came out yesterday. That's the power of that song, where some of these songs, like "Stand," it's a classic song if you have the voices. I know the times that I have played it, I didn't have the quite vocal people to do the background good. Had a good lead singer, but the background wasn't up to par. So I tried my best to mimic background voices with the sound of a keyboard to fill out those sounds. But you'll see. Touch on it a little bit. I know I'm going to get a copyright strike, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that. Let's see who else who joined us. I'm watching two screens here. Let the church say amen. Sure, I can touch on that. That's another one of Andre Crouch wrote that song. One of his last songs, I believe, he wrote. One of his last songs that he wrote. So let me touch on We Fall Down. Again, as these songs were being released as a musician, there was no sheet music. I got the thing. I gotta get my hands set for these chords. To get that chord took me a while to figure what that is. There was a change there. What was that change? What was that change? Oh, I forgot that change that was there. Don't make me go to the video to get the change for that. Oh man, I gotta go get that change because you gotta have that change in the song. Because chords are chords are like a language. Sorry, chords are like it's a language, and if you get the dialect wrong, you're not communicating what that language is. So I'm going in here and see if I can find what that chord was. Gotta have that chord in there. There's a change. There, okay. Again, I had to hear what that change was for the second verse around. Wow, come on, Sam. Get back up again. Get back. When you don't practice these songs, as I said, I went back to the video just to hear what was I missing. I'm sure that's not the correct chord either, but I've already offended enough copyrights already. But yeah, that was again. How many times did I play this song? Probably in my lifetime, maybe once. So it was about. There it is. Well, welcome, Timothy. No, the theme of the evening is I am closing out. I am closing out Black History Month, my series that I'm doing this month for Black History Month. I covered the songs from, if you've been watching all of my videos for the entire month, I covered songs from spirituals to anthems to some of the church songs that were prevalent in the early church back when I first started playing. And then I started going into the songs from the 70s and the 80s on my last live. So you can see me here. So now I'm covering the songs from the 80s, late 80s, and the 90s when gospel music again changed drastically. It took a U-turn. If you thought the U-turn was hard when we went from gospel, early gospel, into the contemporary gospel with Walter Hawkins and Andre Crouch and Keith Pringle, it took another wild turn during the Hezekiah Walker, which is the big choir sound days. We can't leave out Milton Brunson there in the 80s, the Mississippi Mass Choir, the Georgia Mass Choir. Even the choirs in California had some weird stuff coming out of California. One of the songs, I'm trying to remember, it really threw me for a loop to have to learn it. But gospel music became urban. You now had that urban sound. It wasn't no longer that southern sound until, of course, John P. Key came out, and then he changed it all around. He gave the southern gospel sound a hip hop fusion beat, where Jesus is Real was the song. Everyone had to sing Jesus is Real, and it seemed like every album that John P. Key came out with, there was one hit song on it after another that every choir wanted to learn. So I'm covering now some of the songs from that turned around during I'll call it the solo era. We did Yolanda Adams, The Battle is the Lord first, and now I'm covering some of the iconic Donnie McClurkin songs. Of course, everybody knows this one. Very few choirs could touch that song, and I found very few musicians who could do the opening of that song correctly. Of course, I had to learn it as close to the album as possible, even if I wasn't there, one of the musicians on that one. Another Donnie McClurkin song was "Speak to My Heart." Was that F? I'm in the wrong key. Mm. Wrong. There it is. All these chords are chords I've practiced over the years, and when I began to hear them placed in songs, it's like, oh, I know what this chord is. As you see, I messed up the first time around. Then I remembered I was missing a note. Not this note, but this note. Great is your mercy. There's that chord again. There. And some chords are iconic to the singer. You'll hear those chords in all of their songs. One more song from Donnie McClurkin, which I love, came in one of his songs from, I'm going to say maybe 2000, when he did Jesus Came and Did It, oh, Just For Me. Just me. I haven't forgotten the other song. Let me just change my Cordy app for Let the Church Say Amen. As I say, there were, although this song is not in the 90s, it's in the 2000s, but yet still a song that every church, once they heard the song, you had to teach this song. Let me just, if I can remember the opening. There it is. Gotta get that bass. So these are songs from my past that I have not played, especially that one, in at least 2 years. Let me see. Sub Zero, welcome. It was a great series to Black History Month. Yeah, as I say, Sub Zero, I'm not looking to leave anything. When the Lord says, Sam, you've had enough, I miss your playing up here, I'd like to know that I've left some tangible uh, video and audio record that I had an opportunity to learn music created by somebody else and music that I have created myself. Oh, welcome, Timothy. You're welcome. Let's see. You usually find Donnie between A flat and F. I'm going through all the songs I've done from him. He has that high tenor range, which means he doesn't mind singing in the actual rafters, almost alto. That's why a lot of his music you really can't do. But yeah, that is. Does he have something in C sharp? Let me look at Donnie's discology again. Let's see what didn't I cover. He did the Holy Holy. He did that in A flat too, I think. That's 1996. Just looking at the listing of songs that he has done. Again, nobody sings every artist, all the songs from every artist. They go for the hot ones first, then they go for the ones that the choir can possibly do. There's a lot of music that goes unsung. Sometimes I think we need to, in those in the church, need to take 10 songs from every era and every month sponsor 10 of those songs being sung sometime during that month in a service, either 2 in one service or 3 in one service or somewhere, so that these type songs don't fade away. Again, it always sounds like I'm against the praise and worship mantra. I'm not, because those songs are reaching millions of people, where these songs only reached thousands. But the current generation of songs, they all sound the same. It's like having white bread. How many ways can you make white bread? You can make it wheat, or you can make it raisin, or you could toast it, add butter to it, add peanut butter and jelly, but still white bread. But these type of songs that you heard me playing tonight from this era, you knew when that song played what that song was. If I start a song from today's era, just throw four chords together, you'll have to ask me, what song are you playing? It sounds like this one. No, no, it sounds like that one. No, it sounds like this one. Until you hear the words, you won't know which one it is. And that's a little, mind stretching. You don't want to be sitting there going, okay, what song is the choir singing? Because it sounds like the song they sung last week. A little bit. I'll get off of my soapbox. So we're covering the songs from the era past the 1980s. Still so much music in the 1980s that I haven't even touched on, and I hadn't been planning to be here very long. I think it's been over an hour already. But again, once you get me playing, as I say, I'm not worried about all the copyright strikes coming. I don't mind. I don't mind supporting another page with the if they do let me monetize this page, sharing with them, because these songs are important. And having someone who actually lived through buying an album, now you guys can stream it on your phone. Back then, we had to wait until the local radio, wasn't a radio, in New York City where I lived. It was a store called Rainbow Shops on 125th Street and Lenox Avenue, and you had to wait until they got in their allotment of gospel albums, and hopefully they weren't sold out by the time you got there. This is before the advent of being able to take a tape recorder and tape a cassette tape recorder. I still got cassettes around here. I still got cassette tape recorder also. Yes, the Hawkins albums. But again, not too many of the Hawkins songs were done because you didn't have their voices. You could do, if you were lucky, you could get Thank You, Lord out of your choir. Change, perhaps. We did from the Hawkins album back in the 70s, Jesus, I Love You. And what else the other one we did from the Hawkins album, which, again, staple songs, which the choir could do, making me go back into my memory banks. Remember the choir rehearsals, which we spent hours trying to get people to sing that type of harmony, getting altos to separate from singing the soprano part, and tenors to separating singing the low soprano part, because they don't want to go up there in that range. Then of course in the 80s, when we got to doing the big band sound, the songs from Milton Brunson. See if I can touch on some of the Milton Brunson songs. Some of them you might know. I'm looking at 2 or 3 screens while I'm trying to change the keys so you can see. Safe in His Arms is a Milton Brunson song where everybody played it. You would hear Safe in His Arms in any church service that you would go to. If you were a visiting church going to another church for a choir day or for a concert, you hoped that if that was your go-to song, it wasn't being sung when you would walk in the door. But I, again, tried to learn it exactly the way it sounds on the album. Now I just got to pitch my ears because I haven't played this in years. Safe in His Arms. Again, that same change. changes in there. When the storms yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I'm hearing the changes. You know, this. Dun, 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 dun. That's why I'm saved. That's why I'm saved. So each era of gospel music borrowed runs. That's in that song. Where did it get that from? From God Is. But they borrow, again, put in a different key, but those same changes are used. Because back then, every gospel artist listened to another gospel artist, so it was impossible for them not to cherry pick chords, cherry pick phrasing. Um, what else was big back in the big band sounds? And I'm going to change my Cordy app one more time and put it in the key of C, so I don't have to keep on changing it. Come on, there we go. I'm working with two screens. There we go. Back in the big band era of, back in the band era of the Chicago Mass Choir, they hit you with the real big stuff. Available to you. Shorten it up. My storage is empty. And of course, they went into a whole different tirade of chords at the very end. Everybody ends it there, but they go from B flat up to E flat with some of the most ingenious chord changes I've ever heard. Went from B flat to E flat using a circle of five chords. When I learned this song, because I've been practicing a circle of five, I go, they're just walking around a circle of fives. After they come off of one, they go into the next one from that. They come off of that one. B flat goes circle of five or circle of fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. B flat goes to F. F goes to B flat. B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Takes you to E flat. But they went in a inverse way. Normally it would have been, but they went Use Lord. G. That's the change. This is the chords at the end of available to you. Seven. Now stay here. Use me, Lord, to shout the name of men to say. So why I stress melodies and scales and chords so much, because you learn the relative chords that can be used to get you from one part of a song to the next. And that's how the song ends. Haven't done that one in years. I hope I'm not boring or belaboring the time that you're spending with me. A lot of these songs were my history in gospel music playing for a church. I was the that wasn't the lead musician. I was the second musician. So when the choir had to learn the song, I had to learn the song and the parts as the actual piano player. So I tried to sound like the piano player on the album. A change has come over me. Or you're going back into the Hawkins. Hawkins was. Uh-oh, getting a phone call. 1 second. Hello, I haven't forgotten about you guys out there. I'm just giving some tech support um, to my son-in-law and my granddaughter. Her iPad, where her world revolves and is not working. So if I drop off for a second, you'll know why. Let me just acknowledge those who are here in the room with me: Benjamin, G-Man, Timothy. Who else? Sub Zero. I think you're the ones that are here now. Now I've got three currently viewing. We've been covering some of the songs from the 70s and the 80s. Timothy has asked about the song "A Change Has Come Over Me." I will cover that as I'm doing tech support here at the same time. As again, I spent my first 35 years as a technician for the IBM Corporation. So a lot of this technology that you are enjoying was developed partially by the IBM Corporation when I was a member of the company during that year. I wasn't in the research division, but I was the guys that fixed the stuff that broke. So generally, if when I get a phone call, it's to help fix something that is broken. My ability to diagnose has given me awards over my years as being the I at one time was the best technician taking the most calls. Then I was the best technician taking the least amount of calls because I was given areas that had a lot of broken machines. I get them all fixed, and then they wouldn't break anymore. I would make the marketing salespeople upset because nobody would buy a new machine because I kept the old ones working. And I told them, well, that's what you guys train me to do, to maintain machines, to keep them as optimal operation as possible. Let me just check and make sure that they have followed through on what I've asked for. Be right back. Okay, not a problem. Sorry about that. But as I was saying, a lot of this music that I absorbed in my younger life, the history of this music has been pushed aside by what's happening now. Timothy, you asked about "A Change Has Come Over Me." I will cover that because, again, that is the era of the changeover in the music as a young musician, the songs that I learned. So, "A Change Come Over Me." I want to say it's an A flat, but now I'm hearing. Let me go and find out. Is it A flat or was it G flat? Just doing a quick YouTube search. There we go. Let's see, what key was it originally done in? I'm looking for. Here we go. I gotta watch my sound here. No, it is A flat. Okay, guess it was. I don't know why I would think it was in G flat. And again, these songs were, if you had the choir, then you could sing these songs. But when these songs began to first emerge, they weren't adapted by the local church because they were seen as a R&B song. But as your choirs became younger, the younger people didn't want to sing the old hymns and the old spirituals. They wanted to sing this new popular song. There we go. Just change. B, G flat, D flat. At the wrong bass. Bass stays there. Right there it is. Straight. No seventh on there. I'm going to do a couple more, unless, of course, some comments or questions or requests come as we look to look at this era, this closing era of gospel music. I haven't even covered John P. Key. I do want to cover a little bit of Jesus is Real because that song was no one did it like the album. When we sung it in my church, Jesus is Real, it had to sound like the album. In fact, I like doing it with a nice drum pattern behind it. So I'm going to touch on some of them. Who else is coming in the room? I see we got some more people in the room. We're going over. I'm finishing up on my Black History Month presentation. Music in the Black church that evolved from spirituals, hymns, anthems, early gospel, contemporary gospel, the urban gospel sound, and I guess the John P. Key Southern gospel sound or Southern urban gospel sound rocked the music world. I don't think there was one song of his that when we taught it to the choir, it didn't have an effect on them. So I'm going to touch on Jesus is Real. I'm not going to change the chord app. I'll keep it where it's at. Jesus is Real is done in the key of E flat, and it's one of those songs that not a lot of words, but it was led by the infamous Pastor John P. Key. Let's bring up my drum pattern because you got to have a drum pattern with this song. He has so many iconic songs. He's real. A long time. Wow, long time since I've had to touch that song. And again, it's so many iconic John P. Key songs. His emergence onto the gospel music scene, not that he hasn't been there earlier, but in bringing out his group, it made you forget all the other songs. I'll put it like that. Of course, we're not going to touch on Kirk Franklin when he came out with his smooth style, urban smooth style, with The Reason Why We Sing, Silver and Gold, thinking from his earlier albums, My Life Is in Your Hands, songs that gave you a message with a new style, a new sound of gospel. So when people try to tie gospel down to one sound, every sound that it morphed into was gospel. If it had a message and a song that could help deliver that message, you call that gospel. Good news is what the gospel is in the sense of the spoken word, but you put music with it and you can deliver a gospel word through music, and the musicians, of course, being the ones and singers to carry that music to those who listen to it. It was an actual tremendous way. Well, welcome, Dr. Janice Martin. Blessings to you. When you, as a musician, to be able to participate, again, I didn't write those songs, but I had was given an opportunity to learn them and then to assist in the teaching of them and trying to take singers who were not quote unquote album ready. You had to realize not every church had album ready singers. You may have had one lead in the church who could lead all the songs if you had that, either a male side or a female side. But an album ready choir, you were often mixing and matching sopranos and altos. So whoever couldn't match a note for an alto part, you would move the soprano voice. Okay, you two sing this note here. You five sing the soprano part. I went through a lot of that. I went through a lot of can you lower the key down by a full step? And we would lower the key so that we could still deliver the song with the power, with the voices that we have. There's a whole lot said about anointed singers. Well, we had appointed singers. They were appointed by the pastor to join the choir. So we had to make them singers. Yeah, I don't know how much anointing they had, but from a music standpoint, I made sure the music was able to support the appointed, anointed singers that we had in my choir days. I can't speak for every other church because there were some churches in my area of New York that had the knockdown, drag out choirs. Because when I would hear them, I'd sit and I go, gee, I don't have those singers. I wish I had those singers to work with. But we worked in the yard in which we were placed, and I always tried to do my best there. Um, Dr. Janice Martin, do you have a particular song from, let's say, from the '70s through up till now that you would like to hear me touch on, if I'm aware of it? I'll let you give us the last song. I've been here now an hour and 42 minutes. I didn't expect to be here this long, but I really enjoy anytime I can interact with those who watch view my live chats. I will get back into doing more lessons as I try to see what new avenue I can go down. Sometimes if you give people gospel, 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 hymn, 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 spiritual, 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 you begin to repeat yourself because you always want to tackle the ones that are ones that people can actually learn from. And as I've often said, chords are not new, they're just rearranged differently and different lyrics put around it. Just checking my live stream. So if you have any request, song request, um, so just checking that. Trying to think what's one that I can play while you're still thinking. Let me go into my listing of who we're looking. We're looking at Donnie McClurkin songs. Let's see. I mentioned Kirk Franklin. We just did a John P. classic, Jesus is Real. Well, he has so many classic songs. Um, I touched on Timothy Wright as part of one of my presentation songs for this month. Oh, welcome, Gospel Music for Life. It's about almost 2 hours here, so you're going to have a lot to actually look at. I'm just doing a recap on this month, conversing with those who have supported me this entire month in my presentation of Black History Month and gospel music from a church's perspective. I know I could have if I was a jazz musician, I would have tackled all the jazz greats or R&B. I would have tackled all the R&B greats. I can't musically speak from that standpoint, but from a church standpoint, from a Pentecostal church, not just Pentecostal, but from a Baptist denomination and from a United Methodist Church denomination, I can speak to the songs that were relative to those churches during my tenure as a church musician and how I enjoyed playing all of them. As I say, as a musician, I hear some people say at times, I don't like playing this song. And I'm like, well, okay, why? Because you're supposed to make any song that you play sound joyful. No, I didn't touch on the era of praise and worship when the praise and worship mantra started back in the late '80s into the '90s with the Saints in Praise album from the West Angeles Church of God in Christ, with Dr. Judith McAllister was the director there. They came out with the early praise songs, which they kept it Pentecostal. Songs like um, "This is the day that the Lord saved me." This is the day that the Lord has made, and then morphed it into "I will enter into His gates with thanksgiving in my heart." That song, um, every church included that in their opening song as the choir would actually come in. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. There's always somebody talking about me. Really, I don't mind. I got Jesus, and that's enough. That's the only one that I'm hearing from my head. And I think that's the one that you're requesting. That's gospel. That's the '60s gospel. Been a while since I played that. Let's see where my memory takes me. I gotta hear in my head the person's doing the lead. So that's enough. And put it in the right key. I'm hearing B flat in my head. Mine. Wow, that kind of messed that up, but yeah, that was the. I won't say it was a Clara Ward singers, but that style of music was ragtag, where uh, you followed the leader on that song. You didn't have a good if you didn't have a if you didn't have a if you didn't have a good leader on that song, you didn't sing it. Yeah, I'm sure you haven't heard that song played a lot. I haven't played that song ever. I put it like that. But I had to hear in my head, in my mind, I was. Oh, if you heard me humming it, I was humming what the lead was. There's always somebody talking about me, and really, I don't mind. But I don't remember the words after that. But I remember once I got into it, I remember the changes that it would go into. Yeah, that old gospel, gospel music for life, that '60s gospel sound, that changeover of the effect of the Tommy Dorsey crew. Maybe not him, but those that were coming after him that were jazz players that loved playing in the minor sixes and the minor fourths. I put James Cleveland maybe within that same mix. He had some songs that kind of revolved around those chord changes. That's why in my head I had to hear what the lead would have been doing. Then I said, okay, they're following the lead, and the chording just worked around minor, minor, four, then seventh, another seventh, that jazz change, the drop down to minor six, and then I've got Jesus, and that's enough. Yeah, probably the wrong key. Now that I'm thinking about it, it may have been down in it could have been G2 again without a lead or soloist. They try to block and stop my progress most of the time. Yeah, those words were words. They may not have been hymnal. It may not have been hymnal based, but they talked about life. They talked about what somebody was what fighting through, fighting through a difficult life, dealing with people. I think the old hymns talked about the love of Jesus and how he loves you. But gospel songs became like blues in a sense. Nobody knows trouble I seen. Nobody knows but Jesus. That's a spiritual, I believe. But again, coming up, I think I would have not have been happy as a musician if I had not come up in the time I did. It's a lot of the younger musicians today will never hear those songs, even if they would send them to YouTube. The minute they start hearing that crackly sound from a 45 album with that crackling sound, they'll take their headphones off or they'll turn the sound on. This sounds horrible. Well, to us, to those of us that had 78 record players, and my father had one, he had a 78 and a 33 record player. That was golden because we were hearing something from a flat disc with a whole lot of lines in it. And my father would get pissed if we would take them out and crack them. He'd get pissed. But that's how fragile they were. If you dropped it on the floor and you cracked it, you may as well just throw it out. Or if you went in there and you picked up the arm of the needle wrong and it went across the record, it scratched up all the songs across the record. So yeah, I remember not getting whooped for it, but I was called very careful that I wasn't the one that got that actually did it. I say he did it, not me. But yeah, those days, what's that song? Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. But you know, it's in the scripture. It's in the Psalms. Sing unto the Lord. What? Not the same song, but a new song. But I think as I try to explain it, there's no song you can sing to the Lord that's new. He's heard them all. We just haven't heard them yet. So I give space to the current state of music. Now there are some out there that when I do listen to, I'm like, wow. Then there's some I go, okay. The ones that wow me, I go, yeah, I couldn't have written that any better than they did. Then the other ones I go, you know what? Let me fix it. It needs some help. Well, I'm going to bring this to a close. We're closing in on 2 hours, and again, I thank you. I thank you all for making Sam feel like he has did his job in supporting the sound of me black. And again, we this I understand we use a color term to describe a race of people. I like to still believe African American other than being black, but I will go along with the because I got on my black hat and my black shirt. I didn't turn all the lights off this time, but I will agree with the notion of black gospel music in the church. It has a place in history. It may not be up there with the other songs that get more notoriety that other people enjoy, but it's somewhere in the world today. Black gospel song can calm a troubled time, can lift a weary spirit, and can encourage someone who thought all hope was gone. And then they hear a song with just a sultry voice and a encouraged choir, and will turn a person from perhaps turning off their light, but they'll find a reason to go on to the next day and the next day just from hearing a song. So those are the things that had kept me going for 48 straight years in music ministry. Not just learning new songs, but keeping the older songs alive. And as long as I have breath in my body and the ability to use electronics as I can now, and I have an audience like you that keep me encouraged, I will continue doing what I'm doing. I would have liked to have had a singer here in support of this, but with these COVID times, safety first. I believe in safety first at all times, not just for me, but for others. So thank you for allowing me to come into your homes, into your cell phones, into your computers, and to uh, talk, communicate, and share with those that are here. I'd like to close out with a song. Let's see how many copyright strikes can I get on. Let's see, what song would I want to close out on? Let's go to Kirk Franklin. Let's go to My Life is in Your Hands from his, I believe it was his first album. My Life is in Your Hands. Thank you all. Be blessed to where you are in your homes. Be safe. Pray for the people of Ukraine and all from prayers for those who have lost their lives already, defending their homeland. Those who are currently fighting the senseless, senseless loss and taking of life. Let peace, as they say, have its way in our hearts and our minds, and as we ask God for better understanding and how we can be a better person throughout our entire life. Be blessed where you are. Take care. Sam Topper, Sound of Joy, Music Services. Take care. Bye.